So you've won your case in the UAE. That's fantastic. But here comes the hard part, actually getting paid. Today, we're going to break down the crucial steps to turn that piece of paper, that court judgment, into actual cash in your bank account. Look, having that final judgment in your hands is a huge milestone, don't get me wrong. But, and this is a big but, it's only half the battle. This right here is your guide to the next critical phase. Enforcement. That's the legal process of actually collecting what you are owed. We're going to cover the entire strategic playbook here. First up, we'll look at how you even get the legal authority to start this whole thing. Then, we'll dive into the step-by-step process of actually seizing assets. And finally, we'll get into the countermoves, how debtors can fight back, and more importantly, how you can respond. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. Before you can take any action against a debtor, you need one specific, legally recognized document. You should really think of it as a key. Without this key, the entire enforcement process stays locked shut. And this is it. This is your golden ticket. It's called an enforcement instrument. This document is the official, undeniable proof that you are owed money and that you have the right to use the full power of the court to collect it. So what exactly qualifies? Well, of course, you've got your final court judgments, but here's where it gets really useful. It also includes things like notarized debt acknowledgments and even checks. Now, what that means is you could potentially skip an entire lawsuit and go straight to the enforcement stage. That could save you an incredible amount of time and money. Now, here is a super crucial detail that a lot of people miss. Your judgment isn't automatically active. You have to specifically request something called the enforcement formula. It's basically a special seal from the judge. Think of it like this. The judgment is the car, but this seal is the key that starts the engine. Without it, you are going absolutely nowhere. All right, once you have that stamped enforceable document in your hand, the clock is officially ticking. Your first moves are absolutely critical. They're all about putting immediate pressure on the debtor. So here is the opening sequence you need to follow. So here's the opening strategy. And let me tell you, the sequence is vital. You filed the case online, of course, but your very next move, before the debtor even really knows what's happening, is to request a travel ban. Boom, you've just prevented them from leaving the country. Only then does the court serve the official notice, which starts a very strict 7-day countdown for them to pay up. Now, if that 7-day period passes and there's still no payment, well, it's time to go on the offensive. This is where the court steps in to help you hunt for and seize the debtor's assets to make you whole. This brings us to a really key strategic choice you've got to make. If you suspect the debtor might start hiding their assets, you don't actually have to wait. You can request a precautionary seizure, which freezes their property and bank accounts before they're even officially notified. It's a really powerful preemptive strike. The other option is the standard executive seizure, and that happens after the 7-day payment deadline has passed. Now, here's where the process gets incredibly powerful, especially if you're in Dubai. With just a single, free electronic request, the court can launch a search for the debtor's assets across 15 different government databases, all at the same time. And believe me, this isn't just a basic search. We're talking about the court querying the central bank for every single account in their name, the Transport Authority for cars, the land departments for property, the Economic Department for business licenses, and even the Securities Authority for stocks. It's like a digital dragnet designed to make it almost impossible to hide assets. But what if you freeze their assets and they still refuse to pay? Or what if the search comes up empty, but you just know they have resources somewhere? You need more leverage. And this brings us to a very, very powerful tool, the arrest warrant. You see, you don't just ask for an arrest warrant. You have to build a case for it. And it's a pretty clever multi-step strategy. First, you ask the judge to order the debtor to disclose their finances and prove they're insolvent. What often happens is they fail to provide the required documents. And that failure to comply, that becomes your legal basis to go back to the judge and request an arrest warrant. And just to be clear, this isn't some legal trick or loophole. This entire strategy is built on an established legal principle from the UAE's highest court, the Court of Cassation. It basically affirms that a debtor's refusal to be transparent about their finances with the judge is, in itself, grounds for compelling their appearance. Now, of course, the debtor isn't just going to sit back and let all of this happen. They have legal tools to fight back during this enforcement stage. And understanding their potential countermoves is absolutely key to protecting your claim. The debtor has two main ways to object, And the difference between them is critical. Think of it like a game of chess. A procedural objection is like saying you made an illegal move. It's about the process, like, hey, I was never properly served the notice. All that does is temporarily pause the game. But a substantive dispute? Well, that's like them trying to flip the entire board over. They're launching a whole new case to argue the original debt itself is invalid. And finally, it's really important to remember that the process doesn't just stop with the enforcement judge. Their decisions, whether they're in your favor or the debtor's, can also be challenged through some very specific legal avenues. If you disagree with an enforcement judge's decision, you can definitely challenge it, but you have to act fast. For smaller issues, like if your request for a travel ban gets denied, you have just 7 days to file a grievance. For bigger, more fundamental decisions like a ruling on the court's jurisdiction, you have a slightly longer, but still very tight 10-day window to file a full appeal. So when you pull back and look at it, is enforcement just a simple legal process? Not at all. As we've seen, it's a strategic battle, a chess match that requires precise timing and a deep understanding of every tool you have, from the opening move of a travel ban to the final checkmate of an arrest warrant. So the question isn't just whether you can win in court, but whether you have the right strategy to actually collect